All right. Welcome to Beacon of Speech. What is Beacon of Speech? It's all about selling freedom of speech to everybody. I mean, it's that simple. My name is Fred Hunt. That's Ted. He's sitting across from me. Ted, say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
The whole premise of the show is free speech is under constant assault in America today. The problem is it's coming from two places that it's very hard to fight. PC madness from the left, corporations from the right. All we're doing is every day. Well, I shouldn't say every day. I don't think Ted will come do this with me every day. I'd probably sit in my basement and do it every day, but I don't think Ted has any interest in that. But once a week, we talk about how freedom of speech is under assault. But if we talked about that for 45 minutes, it's like going to college and lecturing. Who wants to hear that either? So we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk about whatever we want, and it's almost like reading a newspaper. Talk about news, money, sports, entertainment, and I don't think we're going to talk about money very much since I'm.
Since nobody has any.
Yeah, since nobody has any, but we're not really big investors here at Beacon of Speech. Um, Again, the whole concept is that we're all in this together, and in America, it just seems like that concept is lost. America is supposed to lead by example and not really by force. We should be the beacon that other countries look to. I mean, that's all there is to it. Um, since
We've gone overboard with the rugged individualism, I guess.
yeah, a little bit. But just like with everything now is the mass shooting. Today's October 3rd, 2015. Everything's in the news. The community college in Oregon, UMPCA. Do you know what that community college was called?
Oh man,
It
I
was like
saw
UMPQAA Community College in
it was
Oregon.
like an eye chart. I saw it 3 or 4 times, and I still don't know what it is.
Yeah, I still know what it is, and everybody's well, we gotta restrict guns, and we'll talk more about that later. But with free speech, uh, what are restrictions of free speech in America? Well, there shouldn't be any, um, except for pure evil. Not basic evil, like two guys are going up for the same job. One guy gets it, and the other guy's like, "That guy's evil. He stole that job from me." That's not really evil. We're talking about pure satanic evil. That should be the uh, what's that? ISIS, Nazis. The guy who shot up the Oregon Community College. That guy was evil.
I hate to go off on a tangent, but do you know what the difference is between ISIS and ISIL?
No, I do not.
Okay, that's something we.
We should look that up. Okay. Okay, we're going to the internet. I don't even know what. Let's click up internet. Dun, 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 Google www. What is the difference between ISIS and ISIL?
I think that ISIS is Islamic State in Iraq and Syria.
Mm-hmm. It says here ISIL is the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, also
Okay.
known as the Islamic State of Syria. Blah blah blah. What I just miss.
Okay, so Levant is the L, obviously.
But let's go to ISIS. ISIS is the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Isn't that what they just said? It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same definition. All right, well, we learned nothing. I just gave you literally, it says here, ISIL Arabic versus, oh, okay, of the Levant where ISIS is of Iraq and Syria.
Yeah.
Okay, that really doesn't help. I mean, you're splitting hairs. You know.
So Levant is another word for Syria?
Dun, 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 dun. I don't know. That's a great question. See, this is where we need filler music. We could get the Jeopardy code word. We can call our Islamic friend. I have an Islamic friend in Toronto, and he's a good guy, but we'd have to pay international rates, and Taufik you know, he might be upset with me for calling in the middle of a webcast.
Yeah.
So where were we?
No, but honestly, I think that Levant might represent an area that's not necessarily. It might be bigger than Syria, but also include.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying because there would be a map, and it says Iraq and Syria, but then there's like a splotch of red where it's controlled by ISIS. That it's not the real boundaries of today. It's the border of the group,
Yeah.
and it supersedes international borders.
Right.
And even if it's a historic, last night, I know this is weird, but I was reading about Gog and Magog,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they were like, oh, well, this is the historical map of Gog and Magog, right? Well, I looked at one place and it was in Russia, and I looked in another place and it was in Eastern Europe, and then,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, people don't even agree what the map used to look like back in those days.
Now, did any part of that include Iran?
Oh, now you're gonna make me Google more stuff. Ted, you were killing me. I want Gog and Magog. The only reason I know about that, it doesn't even have to do with history class. It has to do with there's a comic book with those two in it, and if we just punch up images, surprise connections between Sukkot and the War of Gog and Magog. Oh my lord! Breaking Israeli news. I can't read all this stuff, Ted. Gog and Magog. Questions, and I know we'll have all the wrong answers. Let's go back one step and look at maps and see if there's okay. Here we go, maps. And as we're looking at the map, oh, the Gog and Magog. It says that is right by Captain Jasper's in Plymouth, United Kingdom. Okay, yeah, I'm sure that's what.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about.
That's exactly what they were talking about. Yeah, the historical Gog and Magog in the UK. See, that's why you can't you Google half the stuff and Google doesn't see now it won't even let me off this page.
So
No,
that's why I have to get a computer so I can do this on my own time.
Yeah, make sure. Yeah, you buy that computer. Yeah, thanks a lot, Ted.
Stop interrupting.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Okay, I'm not even going to talk about Gog and Magog anymore. The point is that they don't even agree with it historically. Book of Revelations from the north, the prophecies of the Old Testament. Ugh. And the whole point, I don't even, how did we, see, Ted, this is why you're here. Because how did we get from A to B? What we were talking about is pure evil. ISIS, pure evil. And that's your restrictions on free speech. Everything else is relative. Like, okay, we'll use a different example. Let's talk about football. We're from the Midwest, right? We're from Cleveland, Ohio. Talk about the Browns. At the end of the day, we want the Browns to win, but doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things if they win. No. And it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things if Detroit wins. No. Same thing with baseball, hockey. Sports is fun. There's very few things in the world that matter. A lot of things that people pay attention to, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
No.
So, but that's why you need, the freedom to say whatever. At the end of the day, even religions you can't prove, which one's right, which one's wrong. Well, I mean, we got some good ideas. I'm pretty sure the satanic one is not right. And I'm pretty sure that flying spaghetti monster religion, I think that one's a little, I think that one might be not quite the one we're looking at.
Well, the majority of things like sports, they're just a distraction from, from what is real.
Oh, yeah. But it just seems like everything's so heavy with this week with the Pope being here and then Russia going into Syria. And, I'm trying to read up on who's the good guys, who's the bad guys. and they're like, I'm reading about Syria, and they're like, oh well, King Assad or the rebels or ISIS or the Kurds. I'm like, how many teams are in this game?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't tell. Russia could bomb whoever the hell they want, and I don't know who's who.
Mhm.
I cannot. I'm sitting in in America. I'm sitting here, and I cannot tell which team is the right team. I'm pretty sure that ISIS is not the right team,
Right.
but the other three, I don't know.
Mhm.
For some reason, Turkey hates those Kurds for some reason. I don't know what they ever did. You know, well, if you want, you can write to beaconofspeech@gmail.com, right? And you can say why the Kurds are evil to the Turks. I I don't know.
Well, one thing that I think is funny is that, they say Assad, really
Mhm.
bad guy, but he protected the Christians
Right,
in his country. And the same with Saddam, right?
right. Saddam Hussein, he ruled with an iron fist and he tortured and gassed his own people. But as soon as he's out of the picture, I'm killing you, you're killing him,
Yeah.
he's killing them, and it's what they really should do is break Iraq up into like three parts. But the problem is if you give ISIS a state, then you're rewarding evil,
Mhm.
and you're going back to the whole the Nazi analogy where people would pacify them and give them sections of land. Well, do you reward ISIS by giving them their own state? And you can't do that, and granted it's not apples and apples, but you have to be able to talk about options, and at the end of the day, say you had a guy from Iraq sitting here, and he goes, you know what I think should happen? I think America should get the F out of my country, and I think Russia should get the F out of my country, and they should get off, and we'll figure it out. Well, okay, well, go ahead and have a 20-year civil war.
Yeah.
Sort it out. If you really want us gone, then go. I just read, there was a,
Well, are we in Iraq in any capacity right now? I mean, did we send about 300 guys?
yeah,
Or
I think in Iraq as of today, we're out, but we have, and I got air quotes in the air, we have advisors and technical support. This is how you shoot the gun.
because I know we got completely out, but then over the last year, we've sent advisors in and
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so, but it's the same thing. I thought we were out of Afghanistan. And then this week they were talking about how the Taliban rolled back in.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's use it, let's step out of Iraq for a second and go back to Afghanistan. Russia got stuck in a quagmire in Afghanistan
Right.
in, what was it, the 70s?
The 80s.
The 80s? And then as soon as they left, we stepped into the quagmire, and then technically the longest war in American history is the Afghan War, correct?
Yeah, I believe so, since 2001.
Yeah, and now Russia wants to deal. Have fun, Russia. Have a good time.
Well, they say that's what bankrupted Russia was Afghanistan.
Yeah, and so at some point, you got to say you figure it out. If you don't want us there, we don't want to be there. So, but you have to be able to tie it back to what we're doing here. You have to be able to have the dialogue. Well, if nobody talks about it or nobody does anything, you know what I mean? There's a lot of problems. We're talking about Russia. Is there any way that Putin and the guy in Ukraine can sit down and hash this out? Lock them in a room together and say, hey, you two guys come out and you guys don't get out until you pick a pope. There's smoke coming out of the top. There's something to be said for doing that. So figure out your problems. Like, nobody wants to give an inch and nobody wants to talk. They only want their own way. And again, you have to be able to talk about it. And that's why America's great, is because of the First Amendment. It protects speech.
It just seems like no matter what you do in the Middle East, you're wrong.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And
I mean, there's no good answers.
yeah. And logistically, At the end of the day, the Middle East is 1,000 miles away. At some point, you have to say it's none of our business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, ISIS is different because I think they're pure evil. Maybe you disagree.
No, they definitely are.
Okay. But they're like, no, America's the great Satan. Well, because of the First Amendment, we're free to say what we want. The last time I checked, Iran wasn't that free. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is in America is once you get the freedom, do you fight for what's good, or do you fight to watch as much pornography as you can? You know what I mean? And where does that go?
Which direction do you think we're going in?
Yeah, I think I'll go into. As a matter of fact, I don't know why I'm doing this webcast with you. I think I'm gonna go watch some pornography. I think I'd rather be doing that. But yeah, so you have to have a baseline, and what differentiates. Yeah, see, you could tell I was very good in college with my enunciating. Well, us from them or us from anybody else. You know what I mean? And I personally, I like Russia. Okay? I think of Russia as like our cousins. You know what I mean? That may be stupid. Maybe it's because my wife
Can you see Russia from your house?
Look, there's Russia. They're my next door neighbors. Right? Remember when I was wearing the Russian hockey jersey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that jersey. But the point is that what's different than us from them? Well, in Syria, there's no real difference. We come in, we bomb, we leave. Russia comes in and bombs. Same thing in Afghanistan. We're in there bombing. Then Russia's in there bombing. There's not that much difference. Sorry about that. I had to take a drink of water. One of the things, just for the record, me and Ted work with each other. And, I drive him crazy all the time. And I talk so much, my voice just gets raw. And usually it's from, corporate BS. And I made a pact with Ted that we were not going to talk about my boss at all. We were going to talk about not my boss. I have a rough outline. And like I said, I wanted to set the stage about the freedom of speech, but, again, this isn't a lecture. This is, hopefully a webcast. We're setting like a floor for things, but, we can't talk about this for 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could if you'd just be bored of listening to it, and half the facts I would have are wrong. And what are facts anyhow? One man's facts is another man's lies. I'm reading on Wikipedia, and they're like, people change Wikipedia all the time.
Yeah.
No, that's a lie. No, that's a lie. No, this is true. This is true. No, this is. Well, everything's shades of gray.
Yep. Well, that's one of the reasons why my stepfather doesn't want to get the internet, because he says, at least 25% of what's on there isn't true.
I think it's more than 25%. But again, it's just like, what is the internet? Fantasy football and porn. You know what I mean? There's nothing truer than porn. Maybe we should belabor that point. We can. This will be the first normal webcast, and then we'll turn into Howard Stern land, and we'll talk about labias and vulvas.
Mulva.
Yeah, there we go. I'm telling you right now, Ted. Maybe that should be your goal. As I'm bouncing things off of you, you have to make one Seinfeld reference for every webcast that we do, no matter what day we do it.
I could do that.
You're gonna make certain promises. So, but yeah. So next up, we're talking about what's in the news this week, and we don't want to beat that into the ground. Oh, Ted's getting his water. See, I told you you're gonna need that water. We got that high quality purified. I don't even know what company brings us that water.
I don't think any of them do anymore.
Really?
We just have a
Like we run it under the tap and then say
that's the
it's
system that we bought.
we do we. I'm sorry. All I could do is I think we get these giant jugs. We don't get water anymore. We run it under the tap and then we put it back in, and then tell everybody that we're getting purified water.
Yeah.
We're just drinking City of Cleveland water. So
Lake Erie's finest.
yeah, but some of the other scams that I was on my outline that I wanted to talk about was predictions. You know, I yell at Ted all the time. I said, Ted, I could see this in the future. This is going to happen next week. This is going to happen in 2 weeks. I guarantee you, this is what's going to happen. I make predictions of him all the time, and sometimes they're right, and sometimes they're wrong, and sometimes you get a good laugh out of them, and sometimes you're like, Fred is so goddamn crazy, you know?
But these are mainly work predictions, right?
Oh yeah, mostly work predictions. This guy, like, we got a guy that we work with who will remain nameless, Carl, and we'll say, I guarantee you that this guy's going to call off on Friday, and then he calls off on Friday. I'm like, yay, I'm a genius. I should have wrote it down. But even if I'm right, I don't win anything. I don't, I don't get like a free ice cream cake from Dairy Queen or anything. Ice cream cake from Dairy Queen. My grandfather would get those for us all the time, and they were so good. And I'm like craving one, but not the kind my grandfather used to get me. You ever get the ice cream cake with the cookie dough? The cookie dough pellets in the middle?
Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it until now. Now I want it too. So thanks for that.
You're welcome. So every week I want to make a prediction. Hey, Joe Kaufman! Joe Kaufman, we are not.
What up, yo?
We are not masturbating in this room.
What y'all bitches doing?
We're working on webcast.
Is this your gay blue bag?
Yes. What had happened is I'll digress for a moment.
Yes.
I made a movie last year. It's called Blasphemers, right?
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Joe was in it. Ted was in it. It's at
Yes, half the cast
blasphemersthemovie.com.
here.
Yeah, half the cast is here. Blasphemersthemovie.com.
Yay!
Yay, thanks, Joe. Joe's clapping in the background. And I wrote the movie. My sister helped out. Joe was one of the stars. Ted got a bigger part than... I told him I only a few lines. I'm writing, like, before we're shooting. You know, what's going on. And everything I had the laptop in there, I had some of the equipment, I had the script, I had t-shirts in this over-the-shoulder book bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would take it every day that we shot the movie. It was a 2-week shoot. And every day we took it, I'm like, pulling stuff out, and I'm writing, did you do a lot of drinking during the movie?
A little bit.
A little bit of drinking?
Yeah.
Did you end up drinking during the
No,
movie?
I did not.
Spill
I
a bunch
should
of mine.
have, but
I know you
Bunch of my beers.
Yeah, I know you spilled some beer, but that's all right. But so what happened is
that made it to the blooper reel, right?
Yeah, that was the only good thing I did.
yeah,
By
well,
that,
I
my
like
reading lines really sucked. Right?
Oh yeah, the lines. You're gonna blame the writer. Thanks.
No, that's me.
I thought you did fine.
Yeah.
But the point is that the over-the-shoulder bag. After the last day of shooting, I set it on the floor, and I was, playing with scripts. Goddamn dog, okay, pissed all over the bag.
Oh.
Okay, so I had to take out and that was an omen of what he thought of the movie.
Well.
Okay, so I took the bag, I threw it away, I put all the movie stuff. It's actually on a small table in the basement of my house, but it's still there because I haven't done anything with it because I was editing everything on the laptop.
Yeah.
So.
Was that why all the shirts you gave me smelled like piss?
no, the dog did not.
joking, I'm
The
joking.
the dog did not piss on any other
I'm
shirt.
joking.
No, but I felt so horrible because I couldn't pay anybody to do it. Everybody was so nice, and my friend Lewis, he was supposed to be in it, and he dropped out at the last minute. And so everybody who was there, I was grateful that they were there. I really appreciated you guys did fine, but I didn't get to pay anybody.
That's fine. It was fun.
So I had to pay you in T-shirts. I had to pay 10 and How many T-shirts you got at home from the movie?
I only have one.
Oh, you only have one?
Yeah.
Really?
I got like 6. How many you got,
My
Joe?
cheap ass took 4.
Joe's got 4. I know Dan. I know Dan has at least 4. I know I went to my father-in-law's last weekend. He was wearing one of them because Jeffrey.
Your
Jeffrey
father-in-law was?
Yeah, my father-in-law was wearing. So I appreciate him repping the movie.
I like the bulletproof one. I always use the bullet one.
I think I'm wearing the bulletproof one.
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
the one
The bullseye one.
The bullseye.
That's the one that I have. Yeah.
Yeah, the shirt with the bullets on it.
All right, unlike you mofos, I gotta go back to work for the man.
Well, you enjoy working for the man, and thanks for stopping in.
How long you guys be doing this for?
Oh, we'll probably be about 20 more minutes. We'll be out of here by 6.
All right, maybe I'll stop back up.
Okay,
See
thanks.
ya, bye.
See us.
See, Joe wants a microphone, and we want him to have a
Yeah.
microphone, but there's only 2 ports, so we can only have 2 voices at the same time. So hopefully, maybe one time we'll have to switch Joe off. We'll switch Joe
Yeah.
on for me, and Joe can tell the story of how much Brook Park is the coolest place to live in Ohio. So, but yeah. So anyhow, back to where we were going is predictions. So predictions, I have 3 predictions, and this is our little gimmick. I'm going to make 3 predictions. One for this week, one moderate prediction, and one long-term prediction. And each one of these predictions we're going to have some fun with, and then next week we can look at the predictions and into the future, and hopefully we're doing this in a few years. And if not, well then I'll have more things to put in my basement next to the movie that's done.
More things for your dog to piss on.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what, if it was up to me, that dog would be gone. That dog pissed on enough of my stuff. And again, it's not that we don't let him out. We let him out, and it's like he's mad. He's like, "Oh, you went to the movie and you didn't take me, so I'm pissing on your stuff, and you didn't let me out when I barked at the mailman, so I'm gonna piss on your shirt for work." So he doesn't have to go. Let me tell you a fast story about the dog. Okay, we went on vacation for a day. Right, dog's name is Kevin. Okay, Dan from the movie said, "I'm gonna come let your dog out." Right. And we went on a day trip, and we came back the next day, and Dan was like, "Oh crap, was that the day I was supposed to let the dog out?" Dog was in the house for 24 hours and didn't piss on anything.
Oh my God.
Right? I know that dog is not, he doesn't have a weak bladder. He gets mad. He's like, "Oh, well, screw you, man. This is why I think of you. This is why I think of you and your stupid movie."
I can't believe that. 24 hours?
24 hours to not piss anywhere.
Wow.
So that's why I know that he's, and it's not like we were killing our dog. It's not like we were starving him. Let's say he runs out of water. Okay? Let's say he runs out of water. He can go in the toilet. There's water in the toilet. We have fish bowls. They're like literally sitting out. I mean, there's water sitting everywhere in our house. It was 24 hours. You know what I mean? So it's not like we were starving our dog. It doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, okay, I keep trying to say it, but I keep saying predictions and we never get there. We keep getting interrupted. Okay, first one is predictions. One day. Okay, today is October 3rd, 2015. This is my first prediction. I'm waving it at Ted in the air. It's my first prediction. Okay? My prediction is on the front page of the Plain Dealer today. I believe it was 2 days ago. There was a 3-month-old girl who was shot in gang violence in Cleveland?
5 months, I believe.
5 months old? Yeah, I had the Plain Dealer here, and then we moved it. So I don't know where it went to.
So are you talking about the one? It's a shame that we have to, figure out which young girl was shot, because there's been like so many, recent shootings of,
Oh yeah.
17-month-old or.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's where I'm going with it. Is on the front page today.
You're talking about the one that was the same day as the Oregon shooting, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And, we got to do something about guns. And on the front page, it was the poor girl's parents, this poor girl's father. I didn't bring the plain dealer with me, so I don't remember his name, so I apologize. But today is October 3rd, 2015. My prediction is, no matter how many shootings there are, tomorrow the headline will be, see the prediction? Johnny Manziel versus Josh McCown.
Yeah.
The headline on the Cleveland paper, people are getting shot every day. The mayor asked, please, what are we going to do about this violence? What are we going to do about this violence? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't have to do with violence. It's about people's agendas and selling newspapers.
Yeah.
And who wants to read about shootings? They want to read about the Browns. So my prediction is, and we'll see if I'm right or not, is tomorrow will be who's going to be the quarterback, Johnny Manziel versus McCown, or, is Johnny ready or is Josh ready? Some variation of that. So that is my prediction from me to you. That is my first of 3 predictions.
You're saying the headline on tomorrow's paper.
Tomorrow's paper.
Okay.
Yes, they will have already forgot who is shot and who is not shot. Now, I'm going to fold this up. And, if I had a web camera, I would, hold it up to the web camera. And see, it's more fun. And you see if I'm right or wrong. And, Fred's Ted, how many times have you thought when I'm like, oh, I guarantee you this will happen. And then it either happens or doesn't happen. You're like, oh, Fred's full of hot air. Fred should shut up. Right? So I am writing on here prediction for 10-4. And then next week, we'll open up to predictions and see if I was right or wrong or how close I was.
Now you're talking front page.
Front page headline.
Okay.
Headline. Today's headline was the shooting, right? And I'm like, well, it's just like every other. I remember when I graduated college. Okay, I graduated college in 19. Apparently I didn't do good in college, but I don't even remember what year I graduated in. I graduated college in 92. And I remember when I was going to Cleveland State University, there were riots at the university. And I was in the library studying while the riots were going on right outside the university.
And you yelled out, could you keep it down out there?
I'm trying to study. But yeah, that's why I'm like, this is not a new problem. It didn't come, it'll be on the paper and then it'll fall off of the front page and then, they'll talk about Michael Simon's new restaurant opening up in Westlake, and it'll go from there. So that's prediction 1. Prediction 2 is, why are we talking about gun violence so much? You're bumming me out. I know you're shaking your head because I'm the one who set up the outline. So I hope we're not talking about gun violence for the first month of the webcast. That'll suck.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to listen to us. Second prediction, October. Now, I was listening to, I can't remember if it was Rush Limbaugh or Trevisano, one of those 2 guys. But they said that, you know what? It was Sean Hannity.
Oh, wow.
Sean Hannity, because I left it on the wrong station. I left it on 640 instead of 1100. And Sean Hannity said something to the effect of, Obama wasn't a president. He sounded like a community organizer.
Right.
And I'm like, well, he's from Chicago.
I
just riddled
assume
with
he
violence.
was referring to when Obama was talking about the how we need stricter gun control after that shooting. Right?
Yeah.
That's what Hannity was referring to.
Yeah, I'm sure.
When he was saying those things, he sounded more like a community organizer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I to be honest with you, again, freedom of speech is under attack from the left and from the right. Okay? All the guys on right-wing radio, they're like, if we're protecting freedom of speech, we're protecting freedom of speech. No, you're not. You're protecting your own personal freedom of speech, or you're protecting the freedom of speech of some corporation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't give a crap about the left's freedom of speech. They don't. But just because they're on the right doesn't mean they're always wrong. You know what I mean? If people could just find their common ground and go forward instead of, I'm on the right, I'm on the left, Rush Limbaugh's right about half the time. And,
Well, he says it's 99.8.
and you name your favorite, left wing comedian or whatever, and they're right about half the time. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're right 54.5% of the time and the other guy's right 49.4% of the time. It's not that much of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to beat this you're going to get sick of me saying this, right? But the left and the right, all it is two giant money machines.
Yeah.
The Republicans and Democrats are two money machines. It doesn't, the ideas, you could be for something. Say you're a Democrat and you're for something, and then the Republicans like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Some Democrats are like, that's a horrible idea now, because Republicans took that from them. Well, don't you stand for something?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's why, it's all. I've been voting third party since '92, just because I don't vote for machines. I don't.
Now, since '92.
Yeah.
You didn't vote for Perot though in '92.
No. Perot was like, I'm seeing little green men, and let's run. The problem with Perot and let's run the United States like a corporation. Okay, let's do that. How many corporations get run into the ground and then go belly up? Let's not run why don't we run the United States like a nation with people in it instead of a corporation?
Mm-hmm.
All this, Ted, two things. I gotta take a sip of water because see my throat's tearing out again. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people say everything should be run like a corporation. Well, guess what? In corporations, there's winners, there's losers, you lay people off. Well, in America, if you're a citizen, you can't lay them off. You're not a citizen anymore. Out you go. You know what I mean? Only if Trump became president, I'm sure he'd probably be like, oh, you know what? You jerks in Oregon, I'm getting sick of all your left-wing policies. You're out too. I mean, you have to run a nation like a nation, run a school like a school, run a business like a business. I'm so sick of everybody saying it should be run like a corporation. But see, now I'm derailed. What was my train of thought anyhow?
Well, you were making predictions.
Oh, that was a long time ago. See, I'm going to have to take my pen. Okay. Oh, I was talking about left and right. They're all
Right.
The whole point is I did not vote for Perot. I always vote third party, right? And I'm sure I'll probably vote for 2016. Probably be voting for Gary Johnson. He's a libertarian guy.
Oh, okay. I know who that is.
Yeah, he seems like a decent guy, but you never know. Even if he got popular, who's to say that the Republican Party doesn't crumble and then the Libertarians just become the new Republicans? You know what I mean?
No, did he ran last time, right? Gary Johnson?
He did. Yes, he did. I think he got 0.8% of the vote. But right now he's trying. The problem with that is that he's trying to get into the debates. Well, if there's 17 Republicans, 5 Democrats, how in the hell is he going to get in the debates? He's like, oh, well, us and the Greens should be in the debate. There's already 22 people debating.
The stage is going to collapse.
Yeah, the stage is there's going to be more presidential candidates than people in Delaware. And that's why, I like Gary Johnson. I'm going to vote for him, but the way to go about it isn't to get into the debates. It's to set your own agenda. You know what I mean? Set your own agenda and make them come to you. You don't go to them and say, I want to be invited to the party. Throw your own party. Okay. I'm holding the sheet so I don't get distracted. I'm looking at the clock because I said I want to go over an hour. Prediction 2. 45 people in Chicago will die of gun violence. 45 people in Chicago die in October.
Wow.
Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be on the headlines. It's not, mass. It's all, I keep reading about how horrible Chicago is and how they're all.
Yeah.
So today's October 3rd, but we'll just go from October 1st. Okay. Shootings in in urban areas just don't get the national attention. They haven't my whole life.
Right.
My whole life is since I was a little kid. I remember, what year was the Huff riots in Cleveland?
Oh wow.
67, 65?
Sounds.
Okay. Let's go internet. See, let's click over. Da, da, da.
I'll say 67 because it was. the
I
year-
say
year was born.
65. Okay. Huff riots. Huff riots. Dun 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 dun. Huff riots. Cleveland, Ohio. I already said that. Oh, we were both wrong. 1966.
No, well,
I said 65. You said 67. Okay. But I mean, this has been going on forever. So my prediction: 45 dead in Chicago for October, and I will open this up on November 3rd, and we'll see if I'm right or if we're full of hot air. Now, Ted, again, because you can make predictions, you can say I'm full of hot air, you can, do whatever.
now did you, when you came up with the number 45, were
Uh-huh.
you looking at previous months? And,
Oh, no.
or you just
No,
said,
I literally-
this is out of thin air.
Thin air. I'm just guessing because they said, I heard one of the stories, it said, what was it? Must have been, I think they said that people were dying like once a day in Chicago earlier this year. And I'm like, well, 1.5 a day is
Yeah.
45, 30 days. In November, what times 1.5? 45. So I'm writing this one down. This one's to be opened on 11/3. So if we do a podcast that day, that's 11/3/15. Okay. That's prediction number 2. What's prediction 3? Next week, remind me, we're gonna talk about Kardashians or football more. Okay. Here's prediction number 3.
We'll talk about Johnny Manziel and.
Johnny Manziel and Josh McCown. We're gonna beat that into the ground
with gunfire in the background.
You know what? Because we're doing this live, we're not gonna edit this. Because this is our pilot and stuff. But eventually I would like to get hired somewhere, right? What we need to do is hire a guy like Fred, not Fred me, but Fred from the Howard Stern show, right? And then we could talk about it. We have gunfire in the back. We could just, I mean, Ted, basically, once Howard Stern, I'm going to go back to prediction 3. I used to listen to Howard Stern, not religiously, but I liked him, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
But what bothers me is it seems like everybody steals from Howard Stern. I mean, like, blatant ripoffs. That Rover guy in the morning in Cleveland, I mean, it's like Howard Stern, did his scripts or his writing, and then he put them in his basement, and then Rover broke into his house and then stole them. He's like, I'm just going to change a few names and talk about Cleveland.
Yeah.
So, but, so anyhow, the third prediction. Iran will bomb Israel by 2018. Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Man. Nobody's going to listen to this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Not nuclear, though. They're just going to bomb them. You know what I mean? And the whole reason is USA-Iran peace accord. I don't believe in that for a second. You can't.
Iran is going to bomb Israel.
Iran's going to bomb Israel. We're trying to sign that peace treaty right now, right?
Right.
We're trying to sign the peace treaty right now, and some people want to sign it, some don't, left, right, but at the same time, the people in Iran are chanting death to America, right? So I'm not sure how that peace accord is going to work out, right? I still think they want to bomb Israel. Now, again, logistically, they're still 1,000 miles away. It's a lot easier to bomb Israel than it is to bomb Cleveland or Miami or New York or, Las Vegas. So, but that's my 3-year prediction because I always love to be right. And when I'm wrong, I'm sure you take great glee in telling me that I'm wrong.
Now, in Iran's eyes, we're the great Satan, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. We are
So
a
they
Well-
basically hate us more than they hate Israel?
That's a great question. I don't know. I'm
Because
glad
we're
that
the
you-
great Satan and they're the little Satan, right? Or,
I think that might be right. But you know what? If we're the great Satan, at least America's still great.
Yeah, we're still number one.
We're number one at something. You know, I'm gonna have to like do something about my throat. I can feel like the rawness come out. It's like when I yell at you about work for like a half an hour, and you're like, "Oh, why don't you get something to drink?" And then you hang up the phone.
Well,
So-
you'll end up like Glenn Beck, and you'll have to take a month off. You know,
Yeah, I'm.
he had a problem with his voice, didn't he?
He had some sort of problem, but Glenn Beck, he's a. You know, everyone's. Let me tell. I'll tell you, but I'll tell everybody. I am a talk radio junkie. When I was a kid, I remember being 10 years old and listening to Pete Franklin. He used to talk sports at night. Do you remember Pete Franklin?
Yeah.
And I would listen. How many kids do you know listen to sports talk when they're like 8, 10 years old? And I listen to Pete Franklin, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. He's. But then I would listen to news talk. I'd watch CNN headline news, and when I got older, you know, I listened to Rush Limbaugh, and then like when I was 30, I swore off Rush Limbaugh, said that guy's the Antichrist, and then I started listening to him again when I was 40, and again I listened to a lot of different things, and it's just that. See, now I'm all flummoxed because I'm talking about all the different things I listen to, and I again lost the point. You know, once you get to a certain age, Ted, everything like falls out of your head. That's why I got to learn how to use this pen and a paper.
No, I know what you mean.
And you're talking, and then it falls out of your head, and you're like, "What was I talking about?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, I was talking about Aunt Lily, Aunt Lily and her olive garden in the back." You know, so
I know what you mean.
Iran,
By 2018.
2018, 10/3/18. I'm circling the day. I'm folding this in half. 2018. Now, do you think we'll still be doing this in 3 years? Do you think somebody's gonna hire us?
I hope so.
Maybe we should get another sheet and predict whether somebody hires us within 3 years. That might be a better. Let's put this down. I'm gonna write this under Iran. Part 2 of the predictions. Okay, part 2. Will, Fred, and Ted.
Maybe they'll hire us on the day that Iran attacks Israel.
That would be ironic. That, you know, again.
And which thing will get the front page headline, do you think?
Oh, hopefully
That we
us
get-
getting at my household. I'm gonna make that the headline. I'm gonna write it in marker, or you know what? I'll spray paint it on the walls. We got hired. I quit my current job, and we're gonna get a job doing the webcast. Fred and Ted will have a job, not currently where we work, which Fred hates. Not currently where he works, where Fred hates, but a new job where we are actually doing a webcast or radio show. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
Okay. Yes, we will. I predict we will. Do you predict we will too?
I predict we won't.
You are killing me. You are really bumming me out. This sucks. Well, I don't know if I want to do the webcast with you. Maybe we're going to call Joe back in here, and I'm going to do the webcast. Maybe I should are we going to be doing a webcast with Ted? I think we'll be doing it'll be the Fred and Joe show in 3 years. Oh, you know what? I said I wouldn't talk about him, but there's a certain boss that I have. His name is 5 letters long, starts with S. Maybe we should write, will he still be alive in 3 years? Will he have that massive heart attack that he keeps talking about? All right. What else do we have on the outline? Okay, we will bomb Iran, or no, we won't bomb Iran. Iran will bomb Israel within 3 years.
Correct.
And we'll be together doing this, so you say no. Okay. Hey, Ryan and Joe are here. Hey, guys, how you doing?
What's up?
Ryan and Joe in the morning.
Right.
We wanted to come give our support.
You know, Ryan and Joe in the morning might sound better than Fred and Ted in the morning. Hey, it's Fred and Ted in the
There's a ring to
morning.
it.
Hey,
You
come
guys
and Joe.
should change your names like Capretta and Gronowski. You guys can talk about conspiracies and whatever else Gary talks about.
Oh my lord. Maybe we should do a show on conspiracy. Are you leaving, Joe?
No, I gotta scan everything and.
How much later are you going to be tonight?
No, we're done, right? Well, you wait for FedEx. They don't come till 7:30.
FedEx is not coming until 7:30.
Yeah.
Oh well, I don't know what to tell you about that. Can't you
Wow.
tell them to come sooner?
I can. Get your ass here now.
Get your ass here
Now.
now.
Always do that. I can sit around like Gary and get paid, right?
If Steve didn't see me or the 5-letter manager, whose name or name is, I'm not punched
starts
in,
with
I'm
S
punched
and
out.
ends with T.
Yeah, 5-letter word begins with Steve. Yeah, it's a big secret.
So did
So
that work? The Ethernet cord?
we got the internet to work. So thanks for helping us with that.
Cool, no problem. You guys
Yeah,
have a
see,
good one.
we're looking up the Huff riots. See
Oh,
what
yeah?
what a blast we're having.
Sounds good.
Everybody loves ancient Cleveland history.
Mm-hmm. A long time ago.
Yeah, it was. Thanks for stopping in and telling me how much my
Alright.
webcast sucked. Bye, Ryan. Bye,
See you later.
Joe. Okay.
I'll be a special guest on the next one.
Okay, Joe says he wants to be a special guest on the next one. That's what he yelled from back behind us. All right. Here's another little thing. We're gonna.
You're not mad that I said I predict we won't be doing this?
No, I'll be crying. I'll be turning over in the grave, weeping, going, Ted didn't believe in
Well, I
us."
figured, in order to have a bet, you have to have somebody picks one thing, and
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, so you're just taking one for the team for the sake of entertainment purposes.
yeah, but I also think I'm right though.
So our next little gimmick is sports, okay? If we talked about the Browns every day, I mean, we literally have 3 stations in the market that talk about Browns every single day, correct? ESPN Cleveland, 92.3 The Fan, and TAM.
Yeah.
Every day they talk about the Browns, literally. Every day of the year they all talk about the Browns. So if we talked about the Browns, we're not going to be able to parlay one listener into like 4 listeners or anything. So what I want to do is I want to adopt a sports team every month. Every month I want to adopt a sports team and see how we're doing. Okay? So this month I want to adopt from the English Premier League, okay, Swansea City. Do you know who Swansea City is? Here, I'm
No.
going to show it to you. The English Premier League is arguably the most popular soccer league in the world, okay? And they got a big goose as their mascot, black and white, okay? What do I know about Swansea City? Ted's shaking his head.
I know nothing.
You know nothing. I know almost nothing, okay? But the English Premier League season is only like 3 weeks long, okay? And the English Premier League, where is the standings?
It's only
at?
3 weeks long?
No, not. I'm sorry. Did I say 3 weeks long? It's only been 3 weeks since it started.
Okay.
It's like 9 months long.
Okay.
It doesn't end till like next May. So that's our adopted team. There's 20 teams. 19 of them are in England. 1 of them is in Wales. Okay. Swansea City's in Wales. We're adopting the team from Wales.
Wow.
Okay. And the other reason that I kind of liked it is I was flipping through the channels, and there's a documentary, and I wrote it down. It's called a 2014 documentary, Jack to a King, the Swansea story. Okay, and it's a story about how this little soccer club came from nowhere in Wales, and now it's in the biggest, soccer league in the world, right? And I mean, granted, they've been around. How long have they been around? They've been around 1912. They've been around since 1912. So we're adopting them. We want them to be in the top 5 in the English Premier League. Okay. Now, you don't care about soccer at all, do you?
No.
No. My movie was about soccer, blasphemoursthemovie.com, right? And I love soccer, okay? I could sit down and watch a English game, watch a game from India, watch indoor soccer. They have, I don't know if you've ever seen it or not, but in Brazil, they got that beach soccer.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they put like nets on the beach and they play barefoot and they play soccer. I could watch that too.
Wow.
I just love soccer. So Swansea City is the team that we're adopting. Now, you haven't seen this because you haven't looked. The season's only 3 weeks old. Swansea City, out of 20 teams, are currently in 12th. Okay, their goal differential is 0, so they're square in the middle of the pack. Okay, now if we would have done this a couple of weeks ago, they would have been 0-0. But we're adopting them; they're going to be our team this year. We're going to see how Swansea's doing. Okay, but they're the little engine that could from Wales.
Now, when you say goal differential, does that mean they've scored as many as
Yeah,
as
they
have
scored. How
allowed?
many have they scored? Swansea City scored 8, gave up 8.
Yeah.
2 wins, 2 losses, 3 ties. Okay, it's very early in the season. Okay, so they're who we're rooting for. Now, you got to ask me because I love soccer. Say, who's your favorite team in the Premier League?
Who's your favorite team in the Premier League?
I don't know. I just like the Premier League. Now, because that is going to be a segue into our next topic. Okay, number 1, I'm going to tell you.
Let me interrupt you.
Yeah.
You said that you saw a show on them.
Yeah, it was a
Or
documentary.
a documentary. Okay. Now, what channel was that?
Oh, it was like on ESPN U.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't on ESPN 1. I don't think it was on ESPN 2. I don't think it was on ESPN News. I don't have ESPN Classic, but I do have ESPN U. That's why I think that's what it was on.
Yeah, I don't think I have that.
Yeah, I got 4 ESPN channels, and you know,
Okay.
it's weird because I want to watch like the national team, you know, like pummel Mexico or something. And it'll be like, oh, well, we can't show it because we got 4 college football games on. And it's like, oh, go to ESPN 3, which is watch it on the internet. I can barely play like video games on the internet without freezing, let alone watch, you know, U.S. and Mexico. So anyhow, I'm going to tell you the team that I hate. The team that I hate is Aston Villa. I don't really hate Aston Villa, though. Do you know why I hate Aston Villa? This is a trick question for you, Ted, because you're from Cleveland and you know literally nothing about soccer.
Aston Villa.
Why does Fred hate Aston Villa? And again, if we were doing this on the radio, we would put the Jeopardy music on while you were thinking. Da, na, 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 na.
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay. I have nothing personal against the team from Birmingham. Okay. But their owner, his name is Randy Lerner.
Oh boy.
And
I think you told me this before.
yes, I'm sure I have. Randy Lerner used to own the Browns. He ran the Browns straight into the ground. Okay. And he got tired of the Browns. He says, I'm going to go buy this team over in Birmingham, England. Right. And they did good for a couple of years. They were around 5th, 6th place. And then he ran them, where did he run them to?
Into the ground?
He ran them straight into the ground. And as I hold this, Aston Villa is in 18th place. If the season ended today, Aston Villa would be relegated out of the Premier League. The bottom 3 teams in the Premier League get dropped to the lower division. They lose a shitload of money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you do not want to get relegated from the Premier League. Technically, a victory in the Premier League is staying in the Premier League. So Swansea City, our adopted team that I'm waving at you,
Uh-huh.
Swansea City is technically it's a victory if they stay in the Premier League. Okay, but they're the team we're adopting, and I do not like Aston Villa. Okay, so again, when he sells, I won't not like them anymore. It has more to do with Randy Lerner than, and there. If you went to Aston Villa, if me and you hopped on a plane, drove and flew out to Aston Villa, there's a giant for sale sign in front of Aston Villa. He's trying to sell it before they get relegated.
Yeah.
If they get relegated, he loses like £100 million or something. It's something astronomically insane.
Now, did he buy them like right after he sold the Browns?
No. He bought them right before he sold the Browns because he was getting tired of the Browns.
Okay.
And then that was like his life preserver team. You know what I mean? So the reason I bring that up, and the reason I told you which team I didn't like first, is a team that I kind of like, but, you know, a lot of other people don't like, is Manchester United. Okay? But If they win, that's fine. If
No,
they don't
I've
win,
heard.
that's
I've
fine.
heard of that team.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's heard of Manchester
Yeah.
United. They're the Yankees of English Premier League.
Okay.
You know, people in England, they don't know who the Indians are. They don't know who the Pirates are. They don't know who the Reds are, but they know who
The Yankees.
the Yankees are. Just like you know who Manchester United is,
Yeah.
but you don't know who any of these Liverpool, Watford, Norwich City. You don't know any of those teams. They all might as well be Cleveland.
Mhm.
Cleveland and Pittsburgh. But Manchester United takes us to the next topic. We cannot talk about sports the whole time either, or else people will not listen. Is that correct?
I would think so.
Manchester United is the hit song by a band called The Drafts, okay? Which is the next topic, okay? I used to write for a website called Top Tens. I wrote for them for 4 years, from 2011 to 2015. And then they hired full-time writers, and I was not one of them. I did not make the cut. I was very sad.
This would be a good sound effect moment.
Yeah, wah, wah. So, so they didn't bring me along, but I'll tell you what, I love doing the top tens list. I would write an article and they'd be like, "Oh yeah," and they'd print it, and sometimes they'd be like, "Your article stinks," but at least I was getting practice writing. I was always writing for 4 years, no matter what. I was always writing articles, and like I said, they were super nice to me. But one of the articles they did print from 2014 was formerly dead rock and rollers who are still alive and kicking. Well, how can you be dead and alive, right? Well, I made up a list I thought was interesting, and number 10 on the list was a guy named Aaron Lazar. Okay, now you don't know who Aaron Lazar is, right? Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
That is excellent for radio purposes. I'm holding up a picture of Aaron Lazar in a knit cap and showing it to Ted. I'm like, he died. He had a massive heart attack at 27, right? And he had to get a defibrillator, right? Well, he was the lead singer of the Drafts, which I love. I own like 3 Draft CDs, but they only had like one hit, and it wasn't even a hit. It was like an underground hit, but it was called Man U, and it was. I love that. It might be in my top 100 songs of all time. Man U by the Drafts. If you get a chance, go home, listen to it. Ted, go home and listen to it. I know you won't, but
Adam Lazar, is that his name?
Aaron Lazar.
Aaron Lazar.
So, but he died. He was dead. They gave him a defibrillator. He was so hardcore, defibrillator would go off while he's singing in concert after his heart attack. He'd just keep going. You know, he'd pound on his chest, keep singing Man U. I mean, the Drafts were awesome, but they never, like, broke through. You know what I mean? So they were like the obscure band in my formerly dead rockers list, right? But if you ever get a chance, and I'm telling you this, Ted, I'm telling this to everybody. Everybody in the whole world should go to YouTube and Google Man U by the Drafts, and it's one of the best videos ever made. And when we're done here, I'm going to make you watch it.
Okay.
But I'm not going to make you watch it now because it's not good for our webcasts here. Number 9 is Don Powell. Do you know who Don Powell is?
No.
Don Powell
He
was...
he looks like he died, though.
He was the drummer for Slade. You know Slade.
I've heard of him.
They sang "Run, Run Away." No. Okay. You don't know that song. They sang "Come On, Feel the Noise," the original version, not the Quiet Riot version.
All right.
And they did another Quiet Riot song. They were the ones. They were very popular. Died in a car accident. They brought him back. Number 8 is Josh Homme, lead singer of Queens of the Stone Age. You know who he is?
No.
No?
I see somebody there who I do know, though.
Oh, well, you know the next guy. Okay. That guy right there, Josh Homme, he's lead singer of Queens of the Stone Age. He died on the operating table for knee surgery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't see...
That's not really a rock star.
That's not a rock star death at all. That's like barely a rock star death. But I did technically, but see, it's a top 10s list. I can't do a top 12 or top 8. So I got top 10, and I thought they were all good stories.
Mm.
And like I said, you could go to top 10s. And on the search site, just search Dead Rockers, and you can read my awesomely interesting article from a year ago. But I mean, all these people are still the same. Number 7's Dave Mustaine
Yeah.
from Megadeth, predictable. I mean,
Now, a question for you.
Yeah.
Are all these people still alive?
yeah. As of right this second,
Okay.
October 3rd, they're all still alive. They're all people who died, and they were declared dead, and then they came back.
Wow.
And it's like, hey, welcome back to Land of the Living. Dave Mustaine. Number 6 is Slash. See, I ran out of ink. The printer jammed. Our state of the art printer. That
Oh, so
jammed.
you don't have a picture of Slash?
No, but I guarantee you, he's got curly hair and
Yeah.
one of those stovetop pipes or stovetop hats, right? What is that called? What kind of hat is that Slash wears?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. He died, drugs, right? Number 5.
Now, was he more than once?
I don't think so, but you know what? At the end of the day, in our line of work, we talk about HIPAA all the time, right? And technically, you can only know that these people died. It's not public record. You can only go by people who said, "Yeah, I died."
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? So think of the most
So
think of Keith Richards. Keith Richards isn't on our list.
So we have to consider Slash's privacy, right?
Yes, we have to consider. Think of the biggest rocker like Keith Richards, who you think of drugs, right? Well, maybe he did die, but unless he tells us,
Yeah.
and usually they only tell you when they're trying to sell a book.
Mhm.
Buy our book for $19.95, then you can find out that I died. They don't tell you that they died just in conversation like we're having now. Hey Fred, did you ever die? Oh yeah. They're trying to make $1 off of their own death, which goes back to all my, my corporate hate that I have. Number 6 was Phil Anselmo. Do you know who that is?
No.
He was the lead singer of Pantera. He died drug related. After Pantera was over, he was lead singer of Down. I want to interrupt this real quick.
You want to interrupt yourself?
Yeah, I want to interrupt myself. I listen to all kinds of music: country, rap, metal, the hardest of the hard, the softest of the soft, the jazziest of the jazz, right? There are very few, just like ISIS, there are very few things that are pure evil, right? If I was to meet anybody on this list, I'd be like, hey, how you doing? Except for Phil Anselmo, okay? And I'm probably saying his name wrong. He'll probably come kill me. But I think that guy's evil. I really do. I mean, that guy scares the crap out of me, okay? And, I love Anthrax, Metallica, Big Four, but except for Slayer. Slayer's here. You want to hear a list of all the bands that, scare me, even though I'm in my 40s?
Mhm.
List of all the bands that scare me, okay? Phil Anselmo, whatever he does, because he's in 9 bands, from Pantera and Slayer. Okay, that's it.
Just those two.
Just those 2.
Wow.
Well, that you're familiar with. There's, I'm sure, Mayhem. Say you had a Mayhem record, they're obscure as hell, and I'm pretty sure they're pure evil, but, they're obscure as hell. So, they're pure evil. But more or less, you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 on my list of dead rockers is Dave Gahan. Do you know who that is?
That sounds sort of familiar.
Yeah, lead singer Depeche Mode. Personal Jesus.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So he's my guy, and I like Depeche Mode. They're all right. They're not my thing, but I listen to a few songs. Number 3 was Ozzy Osbourne, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Now,
everybody
again-
knows Ozzy.
How many times do you think Ozzy died? Probably a boatload, right?
Yeah.
He was probably dead in England, dead in Australia, dead in America.
Yeah.
But he actually died because of an ATV accident. He was riding one of those four-wheelers, four-wheel
Yeah.
ATVs, and he went up the hill. The ATV flipped up in the air. He flipped off the ATV. The 800-pound ATV landed on him, crushed his chest.
Wow.
Right? And you assume that's drugs, right? But no, ATV accident, and he was dead. They had to bring him back, But who's to say he didn't die of drugs? What's the famous story about him and Motley Crue, where Motley Crue was doing something. They were partying, and then Ozzy Osbourne snorted ants off the
Yeah,
sidewalk or something.
yeah.
Yeah,
It had something to do with a hotel room key.
yeah. So who's to say he didn't die of red ant poisoning that day, and then he didn't tell us? You know what I mean?
Snorted a line of ants.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. And I don't even remember if they're fire ants or black ants or piss ants or what. So number 2 is Nikki Sixx. I think that guy died multiple times. I think what was it? The one time he woke up, the heroin needle or the needle still sticking in his heart like Pulp Fiction.
Mm.
Hey! Oh, I gotta watch the computer because I don't want the feed to die, and it just went to screensaver. And we're still rolling. We're good. And number 2 is Nikki Sixx. Do you like Motley Crue?
Yeah. I'm not like on fire about them, but
I like Motley Crue. I have a soft spot in my heart for Motley Crue, especially like Shout at the Devil days. And you're like, Fred, they're evil. No, they're cartoon evil, like Metalocalypse or something. You know what I mean? They're not pure unadulterated evil. It's this kind of wink, wink, nudge, 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 sex, drugs, rock and roll type stuff.
I think my brother's friend went to a Motley Crue concert after his wedding.
Did he like it?
Oh, I bet he did.
Oh, okay.
I think that kind of was like their honeymoon or something.
And then number 1, the greatest rock and roll biography that I ever read, Al Jurgensen. He is awesome, lead singer of Ministry. Now, the reason me and Ted talk about this is you love reading a good rock and roll memoir, right, Ted?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
What are some really good ones that you read? Like, I know you talked about Pete Townsend's, right?
Oh yeah, Pete Townsend. Actually, Aerosmith was good.
Was that a good one?
Yeah, very good. I've read Don Felder from the Eagles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just saw something about that just yesterday on Rolling Stone, and believe it or not, Don Henley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right guy? Because I'm not a big Eagles fan. Don
Yeah,
Henley.
Yeah, he's drummer.
He said
singer.
that biography by Felder was full of lies and exaggerations. I know you find it hard to believe, and mudslinging. I know you find it hard to believe that Don Henley would not.
Did he
approve
also
of that.
say he couldn't put it down?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. He's like, I read it, and there were a bunch of half-truths and exaggerations. Well, you kicked him out of the band. Basically, you and Glenn Fry formed a corporation and then fired Felder from the band. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, of course, he's going to write a book and then sell it for money, because at the end of the day, I know you like the Eagles, okay? But I don't, okay? Big difference. I do not like the Eagles, and if you erased every song from the Eagles, maybe in the universe, that would be fine, because I do not like the Eagles. But the point of my story was, again, I digress. I got to circle back. Al Jurgensen. All those books you read, not like Al Jurgensen's book. Al Jurgensen's biography is the best biography ever written, ever.
Ministry,
lead singer of Ministry. But I love Ministry. Okay? Now, the Eagles, I actually watched that Eagles biography, and I liked it. Or not the biography. I'm sorry, the documentary. I watched the Eagles documentary, and that was a good documentary.
Even though you do not like them.
I do not like the Eagles. But I really liked the way that it showed how they're all maniacs. Okay? Al Jurgensen is certifiably insane. I mean, that guy, you know who should be doing this instead of me and you? It should be me and Al Jurgensen. And I'll say, hey, welcome to the webcast. Here's Al Jurgensen. He'll tell you stories for 2 hours. He'll probably shoot some heroin in front of you, pass out on the floor, and he'll keep telling you awesome stories. In the thing, he admitted that 3 times he died, of course, drugs, right? And he keeps saying he slowed down. I don't believe him for a second. He was friends with the writer William Burroughs.
Oh, yeah.
And Burroughs was still doing heroin like in his 70s. And I'm telling you, Jurgensen's going to go straight. I mean, he's like, he's in the hell bus, okay? And he's doing heroin. He's driving straight down. He's like, I'm going to just drive this straight through. Ah, no, I'm not doing heroin. Just like when Snoop Dogg says, oh no, I'm not smoking pot. Well, you know what's chock full in that bus? You know what I mean? So I'm not judging him. I'm just saying that I guarantee you he can say he's clean all he wants. But, if he's clean today, he won't be clean tomorrow.
Yeah.
Best biography ever. I love Ministry. Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste is one of my favorite live albums of all time. Psalm 69 is one of my favorite albums.
Sultan 69?
Oh, I'm sorry, Psalm. P-S-A-L.
Psalm, okay.
Psalm 69. Favorite Ministry albums, Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste. Love Ministry. But I even listen to like their newer stuff. You know what I mean? Like I got From Beer to Eternity. Like I think that was released like a year or two ago. I got that somewhere. It's somewhere on my hard drive or something. So the music of Ministry I love. But again, Ministry is kind of cartoon evil. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted. I think Ted got distracted too.
Yeah.
So I apologize. But yeah, so that's my top 10s list, and that's my entertainment for the day.
Wow.
Now, we won't always talk about top 10s lists, but I'm just starting there because, we can establish. I love everything and I hate everything, right? I hate the Eagles. I love Ministry. I love these guys, hate these guys. But Ted, you basically love classic rock.
Yes.
Yeah, so classic rock from basically the Eagles to Pink Floyd-ish, more Led Zeppelin.
Oh, yeah, Zeppelin, The Who.
Yeah. And we'll get more into this in future podcasts or webcasts. But Ted was in a band. It was called Wasted Space with a Y, W-A-Y-S-T-E-D.
Yes.
And Wasted Space was a huge draw in the local pubs about 1999. So if you ever went to a pub and you saw, you guys had a few originals, but mostly covers.
Correct.
And so you might have recognized Ted from that. You would not recognize me from anything because I am a, what would you call it? An instigator? A malcontent?
Malcontent.
Yeah, basically I work at corporations and then I'm a malcontent about how much I hate corporations. So that would make me the world's biggest hypocrite, more or less.
You were talking about Don Henley. I saw him being interviewed the other day. It might have been on like Charlie Rose or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And he actually he's kind of like an elf almost,
But see, let's take it from there. Don Henley looks like an elf. Would you say that's fair?
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. But you should be able to say that without Don Henley suing you. Now, once we post this on the internet, just so you know, there's a chance that Don Henley is going to sue Ted, not Fred. Let's be very clear. Ted said that Don Henley looks like an elf. I say that I do not like Don Henley. Now, in Don Henley's defense, he has more talent than Glenn Frey, okay? But that still means that's still who has more talent on the band that I do not like. And you could go home. Ted, next time you come to my house, you look at my records, CDs, look at my iTunes library, look at my Bandcamp downloads. I have nothing by the Eagles, 0. And how many hits did they have? Like 100?
Well, no, I'm just I hate to go off on a tangent here, but I said he looks like an elf, but didn't you one time say that he looks like the Heat Miser?
I think I said he looked like the Heat Miser in the Eagles documentary. But again, Ted, if you like a good music documentary, go watch Eagles documentary. Okay, it's entertaining. Who's the other guy? Who's the guy I like from the James Gang?
Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh. That guy I like. Out of the 5 of them, I like Joe Walsh, and I like who doesn't like Life's Been Good to Me so far?
Yeah,
right.
it's awesome.
So I mean, I like classic rock. It's just a matter of, because I grew up on it, you get sick of it. My mom, she loves the Beatles. By the time I was 10, I was like, I'm sick of the Beatles. But that doesn't mean the Beatles weren't great. You know what I mean? I'm just sick of them. I knew every Beatles song and knew George Harrison. I knew everything about the Beatles there was to know. And then, I want to bash my head in the wall. I'm like, oh, I'm sick of the Beatles. You know what I mean? So, all right. We already ran through our entertainment section. We didn't even get off on that many tangents. You like the Eagles. I like Ministry, right? Yay!
Yay.
Yay! We both like old bands that don't exist.
We all learned something.
Okay. Now, again, once we're doing this, I want to do a song of the day, no matter what we do. Song of the day, okay? And then we would play the song of the day as we're tying things up, okay? Today, my song of the day, I was listening to this morning, Audience of One by Rise Against. Number one, I love that song. I like Rise Against, I don't love them. But basically, song of the day, Audience of One. Why do you think I picked that, Ted?
Audience of one?
Yeah.
Because there's no audience?
Yay! Yay! See, we got to that. So I'm going through the thing, blah, blah, blah. We didn't even get to Caitlyn Jenner. We can talk about that next week. My brain will explode. Everything else was good. What else do you want to talk about before we leave? Is there anything we want to talk about before next week that you want to get on the record?
No, nothing leaps to mind.
Nothing leaps to mind. Okay, let me tie it up here then. Again, if you want to tell us how much we suck or how awesome we are or to offer us a job, we will take almost no amount of money. At this point, we do have to get paid some money at some time. So we would like to get paid someday. You can reach us at Beacon of Speech, Beacon of Speech, spelled all out, at gmail.com. I don't expect anything today, do you? You don't think I'll
No.
post this later, and I don't think anybody's going to listen to this. You can get your nephew to listen to us?
Yeah, I probably could if I twisted his arm.
You think he'll stick for the whole hour and a half? He'll be like, talk about my band, Ram in the
It's been an hour and a
Bush.
half?
Technically, we started late. I think it's been about 1:15.
Wow.
But yeah. So, promote Blasphemers, the movie. I mentioned it when Joe came in. It's not a great movie. You don't have to pay for it. It's a free movie. It's about as good as a student movie, like in college, right? We got some friends together. I like the movie because I like soccer. If you like soccer, I think you'll like the movie. There's a lot of swearing in it. We didn't swear too much today, did we?
No, I don't think so.
No. You're not a big swearing guy anyhow, though. I'm the swearing guy, right?
Not yet.
We got to push the right buttons. Maybe next episode we'll make fun of your mom or something.
Next episode I'll have Tourette's.
Yeah.
I'll probably get sued for that.
Yeah. Blasphemers, the movie, you can watch it for free for a year. It's basically a student film. We're not going to make any money on that. If we ever make money, it'll be from Blasphemers 2. I already have the outline in my head, Ted. Okay? If anybody gives us money, we're doing Blasphemers 2. If not, it would have been a good movie. I can entertain myself with the images in my head. Isn't that awesome? And then the next one is Top Tens. Like I said, I wrote for them for 4 years. I think I got 35, 40 articles about once a month. Go to Top Tens, pop in Fred Hunt. Their search engine isn't that great, even though I got 30 or 40 articles. I think only like 6 come up. So you'd have to know like the name of the article I read or wrote. So
You just go to top tens?
yeah, just go to Top Tens and look at that. And like I said, I know when I put in my name, Fred Hunt, right? Only 6 come up. I'm like, I know I didn't write 6. I look at my computer, and, the hard drive's chock full of them. I'm like,
But
oh
that's
yeah.
all they have, or
Yeah, they only under the Fred Hunt search, but like the one 10 Formerly Dead Rockers. If you Google Fred Hunt, it doesn't come up. But if you Google Dead Rockers, it comes up. You can read the article, and then I also wrote a book called American Suicide. Did you like American Suicide? That was 3 years
I
ago.
loved it.
Well, thank you.
Very good.
Yes. Was it better than the Who book though?
Apples and oranges. Apples and monkey balls.
Fair enough. I cannot top that. Ted Coley, I think you. Oh, am I allowed to say your name? Do I have to bleep that out?
I don't.
Ted
I don't
Coley,
know.
I thank you very much. I'm Fred Hunt. We are Beacon of Speech. We're hopefully going to come back next week.
And
Hopefully-
I'm sorry for the unprovoked attack of Don Henley
No, Don
and
Henley.
people with Tourette's.
Don Henley, you sue Ted
Fred Hunt.
Coley. Sue Ted Coley. All right. Now, we're done. All we got to do is hit stop, but it won't. Where's the stop button? The stop button disappeared. All right, we're going to click here. Oh, there it is. Hit stop.